What's up, guys? Welcome to the most epic podcast you've ever seen in your goddamn pathetic little lives. Hi, everyone. All right?
That was a lot.
Yeah, I went harder as it sort of got harder as it went on, which was a mistake on my behalf. But
It did.
I would like to say that was fairly intense, that, Charlie.
yeah, it was a bit too
intense,
intense.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Would you like to be the host for today's show, Charlie? Is that what we're doing today?
Nah.
No, you're not going to mention hello.
Would you like to be the host with the most or the host with the roast? Like Bob Mortimer once said in one of his many jokes.
I mean, do you have a roast, Charlie? What's your favourite roast meat?
Meat?
Well, like if you're having a roast dinner,
Any
what's the
of them.
best? Well, no, what's the best?
Oh, I just have chicken, but that's because I don't. It depends. This is the thing, right? So when I lived at home with mum, it was always chicken because it's just chicken, right?
Yeah.
But my girlfriend's mum, who's the only person who like I don't cook roasts because what do I look like? Someone who has effort? No.
To be fair, they're pretty easy.
No, that's effort. So the only person who's cooked a roast that I have eaten in the last 2 years has been my girlfriend's mum, and she's all about it. She's changing it up. She's lobbing ducks in there. She's lobbing all kinds of different bits in there. Right?
Roast duck's so
Whereas
good.
I'm just here for the chicken, but I'll eat anything. I'm not complaining. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying duck is bad. I'm just saying that's not a traditional Charlie Walsh.
Duck is so good. Duck is.
It's all right, innit? I was surprised by how all right it was.
There was I remember ages ago. So this is like it's a story about Christmas and also Chinese food, which is a combination.
Is that what we're doing today? Every time we have to start telling a story, we have to preface it with what it's about. This is a story about a computer game. I've been playing this game. Cool. Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah, it is.
Is that what we're doing today?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I remember. So the whole thing starts off with the idea of my mum doesn't like turkey because it's too dry. Right.
It's shit. Like I fully back it.
It's too dry. She can't be asked cooking it properly so that it is not as dry as it is. It's shit, right? She doesn't like turkey. I'm not the biggest fan of turkey, but whatever, it's fine. So we went to a Chinese once with my granddad. My granddad's got diabetes, right? But he does not care about the diabetes. He's just like, nah, fuck it. We're gonna eat whatever we want and have fun doing it. So he took us all to a Chinese one night, and we ended up getting the crispy duck with pancakes, hoisin crispy duck or whatever. It's so nice, so nice. Me and my brother ended up being like, oh shit, like this is the first time we've ever had duck, and we're like, oh wow, this is really nice. We really like this. This is really good. So I think the same year that we ended up doing that. My mum was like, "So what are we having for Christmas dinner?" And we don't like, I don't know. We'll whatever. We'll defer to your
better judgment.
Yeah, better judgment or whatever. So we were in like Sainsbury's, and we saw like a full duck on the aisle, and we remembered from the Chinese that we were like, "Oh wow, remember the Chinese? We had duck, and it was so nice." Mum was like, "Yeah, duck was really nice at the Chinese. You know, why don't we have a duck for roast dinner this year?" And we were like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And then from then on, we just had roast duck instead of roast turkey because it was just so delicious that we just didn't. We were like, oh wow, okay, hey, roast duck, man, it's the one.
I was surprised by how much duck was good. I suspected it to be bad. I don't know why.
It's because you see the ducks at the park and you don't go yum yum.
Maybe that's why. Potentially. I don't know, but it's very good.
It is. All right, we better fucking do the intro. Hello, welcome to Sometimes Video Games. I'm Adam, and I'm with Charlie Walsh and Louis Birtwistle. We're doing stuff today. Welcome to the podcast. That was good, wasn't it?
Hello.
How are you all? Are you doing having a nice day?
It is good.
It's good. It's been good. Been a good day.
Yeah.
And what's been so good about it, Louis? Why your day been good? Tell me the story about why your day's been.
And remember, you have to start by saying what the story's about before saying it. That's the rules.
That's the rules for today's episode.
Okay, so the reason why my day was so this is a story about why my day was all right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Intrigued. Carry on.
Yeah. So I I woke up and was like, don't feel like doing out. So
relatable.
I warmed up a leftover kebab I had last night, which honestly it was okay.
What kind of kebab did you have?
Chicken doner.
Was there any sauces on it?
With lettuce and garlic sauce.
Lettuce and garlic sauce. There we go. What's your judgment, Charlie?
Never had a kebab, so I can't say. Sounds fine.
Fair enough.
Sounds like a kebab.
Fair enough. Go on, carry on.
It was not good. I was just sat down, I couldn't be asked to do anything. Eventually convinced myself to have a shower, which I did. And then my bed sheet ripped.
Oh no!
I'm like, gotta get a new one now.
How did it rip? What do you mean?
So it just ripped.
The fuck?
No more questions, Your Honor. Move on.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
They're not supposed to do that, I don't think.
No.
No.
It's probably because he was getting on a bit.
Fair enough. So
It was getting on a bit. Never heard someone describe a bedsheet like that before, but you gotta respect it.
So you need to get some new bed sheets now, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I've not ordered anything because it's a sad day and doing that shit.
Sure. Anyway, carry on.
But yeah, and then I got on to play a bit of Destiny. Then people were like, "Yo, Berticus, that's my name on video games. Berticus, come join. We need one more for a wish." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm supposed to be doing a podcast, so I'll join for one run and then I'll leave." And then I sent Adam a text saying I'm going to be 30 minutes late.
You did do that. I remember that very clearly in my mind.
And then I came back, and then we waited another 30 minutes for Charlie to get his ass on. So like,
okay, right. Hang on. This is a story about how I'm being slandered. I'm being slandered here. Right, this is a nightmare. I texted Adam at exactly 3:30.
You did.
Right?
I actually know Charlie did this.
No, this is for the sake of everyone else knowing that for once it wasn't me, right? And I was like, and then I got a text back from Adam at Gone 4 saying, "Oh crap, yeah." Now.
No. That's slander. This is a story about how I'm being slandered. It was definitely before that time that I texted you back.
It was 4:10.
Can we all just talk about how we're all being slandered and just get on with our day?
Okay, yeah, that's fair. All right, and carry on. Sorry.
It was.
That was also the end of my story. By the way, I just wanted to.
This is a story about how my Facebook wasn't open because I was busy playing video games. So I didn't realize Charlie had messaged me. I didn't realize Charlie had messaged me until I'd finished playing the video game that I was playing, and then I looked at Facebook because I was like, Charlie's not here, and me and Louis in Discord. So I wonder if it's time to message Charlie and realize that Charlie had sent me a message.
Thank you very much.
Either way, regardless, even if I had gotten in touch with you at 3:30. It was we would have had to wait for Louis anyway, so it is what it is. It's fine. It's not my fault either.
This is a story about how it's no one's fault. I don't think it's anyone's fault. I think today we're all equally at fault and not at fault.
I agree with that story, Charlie.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Good. How was your day, Charlie? Did you have a nice day? Did you do anything?
Yeah, man, it's been alright. I slept. I woke up. It's been I've done stuff. I don't know what to do with myself. It's bank holiday Saturday.
Insane.
I'm like active. You know what I mean?
Active.
I went to sleep.
Go for a run.
At like quarter. This is a story about how I went to sleep at 1:45. I went to sleep at 1:45 last night. Woke up at like 11:45 or something. Woke up, watched a film, started watching Top Boy, and then that's alright, man. It's been alright, you know.
So Charlie, I have a slight issue with the story, right?
Feel free. But you need to remember this. You have to premise. Remember to premise.
Yeah, but this isn't me telling us. This isn't me telling a story. This is me.
Oh, it's like an addendum type thing. Okay, no, that's
this is complaining about your story.
This is an addendum to Charlie's story.
Go wild. No, I accept it. Come on.
And you started telling the story before, only for a brief second, but it was enough to bother me.
Oh, no.
And you started telling the story before you told us what the story was about, which
You know what? That's an
irks me a
excellent
little.
point. That's an excellent point. This is a story about how I apologize. I apologize. I feel like it's a fair comment. And I would like to formally put that out into the world that I am apologetic for that. Because that is fair. I agree.
Cool. I'm glad that we're all on the same page. This is the story about how I'm glad that we're all on the same page. That's the story that I'm glad we're all on the page. So,
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is, so now we're diverting back into my previous story about how my day's been alright. Yeah, it's been alright.
Good, I'm glad. You were watching a film. What film did you watch, Charlie?
I watched the latest James Bond film, No Time to Die.
No Time to Die.
Yeah, it's about a gnome who dies.
I
watched No Time to Die, the latest James Bond film, which was good, but also a mistake because I've seen none of the others, and because it's the last film that Daniel Craig's in. It felt very much like a lot of the stories from Daniel Craig's James Bond films were coming to a head, and so a lot of that stuff was just over my head. Like,
really?
Like
the James Bond,
like,
Daniel Craig cinematic universe was too much for you.
Well, not too much for me. It just felt like
you'd missed
it. Just felt like there's stuff that happened without spoilers, because obviously the film's not even been out a year yet, I don't think. So without spoilers, I think there's a lot of things that happen in the film that are significantly more meaningful, let's say, if you've seen the other Daniel Craig James Bond films. Whereas it's like when I saw Civil War, it's like I'm assuming meaning is existing and just accepting it for what it is. But yeah, no, it's alright. It's a good film. It's alright.
Was the Billie Eilish song good in it?
I can't act like I care about the Billie Eilish songs. You know what I mean? Like, because I looked at the Wikipedia page after, right, and the Billie Eilish song was the only thing I really knew about the film.
Same.
Because I'd heard it when it came out, but I've not. Whatever. Yeah. And then like my girlfriend was like, "Oh, the only thing I know about the film really is that Anna de Armas is in it and the Billie Eilish song, because she listens to the Billie Eilish song, right?" And then I looked at the Wikipedia page after at the section that is entitled reception. Right. And then you have all of the bits about how well it did in the box office and numbers and all that nonsense. And then you get onto the critical reception, which is fine. And then you get onto the awards bit, right? And as I'm scrolling down the awards bit, the table of awards, like it felt like it was nominated
for the Billie Eilish. Yeah,
it felt like the Billie Eilish song got nominated for every award it possibly could, and then sometimes James Bond the film got nominated. And I'll be honest with you, the song.
It's fine, right? It's not great.
It's fine. It's fine. It's not in the pantheon of best James Bond songs.
Well, there's only one. The best James Bond song is Snake Eater. So.
Well, of course, but when there's levels to this game. If you're doing a tier list, you have Snake Eater, and then you have everything else. But like, I'm talking like
sure.
I'm talking like you're talking like Diamonds Are Forever. Yeah, the Shirley Bassey bangers and stuff like that. Like, No Time to Die is not bad by any stretch of imagination. I'm not saying it's a bad song, and I enjoyed I liked the intro graphics, as it were. The intro package as a whole was very strong. The song, yeah, it was good, but I wasn't enamored by it by any stretch of imagination. I thought it was good, but the film in general, I mean, it's all right. There's not really much to say about it apart from that. I feel like if you were into James Bond films, you'd probably really enjoy it. If you were into the Daniel Craig James Bond films, you'd probably love it. I was like, yeah, it's a solid 3 out of 5. It's all right.
Yeah. What's the best James Bond song other than Snake Eater?
I mean, again, I feel like Diamonds Are Forever, really.
I might agree. Like,
Diamonds when I think about James Bond themes, I think that, you know? Man for All Seasons from Johnny English bangs.
Also, Goldfinger.
Goldfinger's very good as well.
That's so good.
There's something about that era of James Bond songs. Again, this is coming from someone who has never seen another James Bond film, but there's something about that era of James Bond songs that are so like, they just pierce everyone's minds. They just the brass sections, the Shirley Bassey's voice,
it's
like
the big band section of things. Like I'm looking at all of the. I'm looking at the theme songs now, like all the title themes that have existed, and I'm thinking about the songs I think are really cool, and it's all like the big band stuff, and then it gets to like Live and Let Die with Paul McCartney wins, and I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. And then
but it has a good bit, Live and Let Die.
Yeah. To
live and let, bam, bam. It's the big bits again.
It's the big bits.
You know, James Bond. When you think about James Bond, you think about the theme song. You think about those kind of sounds.
I don't think about Another Way to Die with Jack White and Alicia Keys.
Yeah, no.
Like, think about that. A View to a Kill, Duran Duran. I think that's why Snake Eater is the best Bond theme, because it gets right all those iconic. It gets like the Shirley Bassey iconography and the big band and the big trumpet. It knows exactly what it's doing. It's like, oh, here's the big trumpets, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, this thing happening, and then it decides to be soft at the start as well. It's like, what a thrill. And then eventually it builds up into this massive like vocal crescendo with the orchestra behind it as well, and it's like, oh man, No Time to Die.
I think that's why I like A Man for All Seasons from Johnny English as well, the Robbie Williams one, which is, it's not quite as perfect a parody, but it's using a lot of the same stuff and a lot of the same spy-ish noises to just make something that is a generic and sort of
spy noises. Yeah.
It just works. It just works.
Yeah, it does.
And Billie Eilish's one, I think, is very much the same. I think it's trying to ape that sort of style as well. But like, and it's not bad by any stretch of imagination. It just didn't particularly hit with me.
That's fair. I do like it more than some of the ones.
Which is potentially why, actually, I was thinking about this after. It's potentially why I was only sort of like, I was like, yeah, that's a fine film. I think it's maybe along the same lines, because it's like, I really was looking forward to seeing this specific James Bond film. It's the first time I've ever been excited to see a James Bond film.
Why?
When it was coming out, because it was written partly by the same woman who did Fleabag in the first series of Killing Eve. Like, she came in and script stuff on it. Like, it felt like a James Bond film. It felt like one of the first James Bond films that, from the outside, from my position of someone who's not super into James Bond films, sort of knew it was a James Bond film. Not trying to be like, oh, it's James Bond, but being like, okay, we understand. Like, in the trailer, there's the bit where James Bond walks up to a reception desk, and the receptionist, who, by the way, is from Phone Shop, which also helps me, but goes, asks him his name, and he goes, Bond, James Bond. And it's like, this is one of the few times where they're like, it's referencing the ridiculousness of saying the name like that. It's a reception desk, and it's like it felt like I was really looking forward to it. And I think that's probably why, coming out of it, I'm like, it's like a 3 out of 5. It's like, yeah, it's good. It's not a bad film by any stretch of imagination. It's just, it's a lot more tied into everything than I would have wanted it to be, sort of thing. Which, you know, is what it is. Whatever. It's not that deep, but yeah. And I think that Billie Eilish thing's similar, where it's like, it knows it's a James Bond song, and so she is working within the parameters of it trying to be a James Bond song, and it's good. It just doesn't stand out to me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's good.
It's all right. And then I watched half of an episode of Top Boy, so, you know.
Yeah. Why not?
It's relatable. It's not.
I was gonna say, is Top Boy relatable? I don't know.
It's set. I recognize everyone in it, if you know what I mean.
I recognize that street.
Well, no, because I don't walk around Hackney that much. But I'm like, oh, I see. Yes, this stuff. I grew up on a council estate in London. I recognize what's going on here.
Yeah,
but, you know,
okay.
But it's a good show. So.
Council estate, boy.
Boy.
Good show though.
Sure. Yeah. It's didn't Drake do some drill for fucking Top Boy at one point? Is that right?
So it was originally a Channel 4 show.
Yes.
In 2011.
Was it on
There were
Channel 4
two series of it. There were 2 series of it. And then in 2019, it got brought back, and Drake was one of the exec producers, and it got brought back by Netflix. And so from 2019, there's been 2 series, and Drake is an executive producer for it.
I see.
Because Drake is a really wannabe roadman. So he's more Top Boy, and he went, oh, I am part of the Mandem, and, you know, went from there. So yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I'm not on the Netflix ones yet. I'm still watching.
I see. Sure, fair. Jesus. I think I heard the drill song Drake made, and I was a bit embarrassed for Drake. Not that I'm Drake, like big into drill or anything.
I'll be honest with you. Drake, kind of overrated.
Drake's really overrated.
Massively overrated.
I don't get it.
Like
some good songs, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Hotline Bling's fun, right? But
and now also there's the thing. This is the thing. There's some songs I like of Drake's where he's like, he's fun. He's like, there's that one he did, the one recently, the one where every line stops and then he goes like baby or whatever at the end of every single line or whatever. And I'm like, okay, Drake's having fun with himself. I can appreciate that. But
sure, yeah.
like, I just don't see. I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
I don't get it, really. I don't get it. And I think there's a lot of like pretense there and stuff. And also that new album was dreadful. The was it Certified Lover Boy?
Yeah.
Oh, it's dreadful.
It feels like Drake's an actor trying to be a rapper. But I don't know.
Maybe.
I can't say I've ever been that into Drake. I don't get it, but you know, whatever. He's successful, so.
I mean, obviously, yeah, he's successful. Were you going to ask what's so bad about it, Louis?
No, I was going to ask something else, and I already lost my train of thought.
Fair enough. So, my day was okay. This is a story how about my day was okay.
Okay.
I spent most of it in bed today. I'm not usually that lazy. I do usually get out of bed. But I decided to stay in bed a little bit later than I.
Easter weekend, you know.
Yeah, true. I got a new bank card. I don't know if you noticed. I'm with NatWest. So NatWest.
I don't know why I would have noticed if you were with NatWest, but carry on.
NatWest. They had a deal with Visa for their debit cards, and have changed that now, and they're now got a deal with MasterCard.
Yeah, Santander have done the same thing.
Really? That's interesting. Wonder why.
No idea.
So they were sending out a bunch of new cards, basically, right? So I got my new bank card. My bank card. These new bank cards are weird because they have 0 details on the front.
Okay, that's very odd.
Literally 0. Like the front is blank. It just has like a little pattern on it and the little contactless symbol on it, and all of the details are on the back instead of the front now. So you don't have a name on the front. Your name's on the back. It's just like, what? This is so weird. I've never seen a bank card like this before. I know NatWest are pretty good at that anyway. I think the old bank cards, because most bank cards have their account number and sort code on them. But NatWest never had the account number on them, I think. Yeah, it never had the account number on them. It always had the sort code, but never the account number. And now it's just a colourful card with I was going to say Netflix logo, with a NatWest logo on it and a MasterCard logo on it.
Netflix logo on it. Every time you open it, it goes boom.
That's all it does, yeah.
The Netflix straight through there.
I don't know whether I like it or not. I kind of like that it doesn't look like a bank card anymore. It just looks like a card. It's weird. I don't know how I feel about it.
That is odd to me.
But then I started playing video games, and I've been playing a new game. Playing a new game over the last few days. You can guess if you want to.
Frogger.
No, although I wish. That would be good.
Fair. And I'm not sure I'm interested, but carry on. What is the new game?
I've been playing Life is Strange: True Colors.
Okay, yeah, I played
recently came on Game
half
Pass.
of the first episode.
Oh, did you? What did you think of it before I?
Oh yeah, I want to play more of it. I've just played
half of
the first episode. My girlfriend played it when it first came out. She loved it, but I haven't got around to playing any more than half of the first episode.
Fair enough. I've just finished chapter 3 before the podcast. I think there are 5 chapters, so I'm pretty far in.
Yes.
Pretty far in. And the first thing that's really first thing that I'm really noticing, because I never played Life is Strange 2, but I really enjoyed the original Life is Strange, way back in, like, God knows when it was, like 2015, maybe 2016, something like that. Maybe even earlier than that. Yeah, it was a long time ago. and I really enjoyed that game, but there was a lot of stuff about that game that was kind of weird. Like the scripting, the script in general is very odd.
It was very much French people writing American teenagers.
It's a lot of French men writing American teenage girls. Yes, it felt very weird. But I still enjoyed the game for what it was, and I still enjoyed like the twists and turns and the story of it all. This is 2 games on from that basically now, and I think they've made other games in between that as well. I think there was Tell Me Why or something. I think is by the same studio. I don't remember that very well, but you can see that they've improved the formula a heck of a lot. Like just the improvements in not just the script, because the script's miles better in True Colors. The script is just so much better than the original Life is Strange script, as well as the performances. The performances are bang on as far as I'm concerned. Right now, it's been genuinely emotionally affecting in, I think, all 3 of the chapters that I played so far. But I'm really surprised at how much they've managed to just step it up. You know, I thought that the whole Telltale formula of game sort of peaked with The Walking Dead season 1. Sort of kind of peaked the second it appeared, right? But it feels like Don't Nod have actually been like they've taken a step back from Life is Strange 1. I don't know whether Life is Strange 2 had like this. I assume there's improvements in Life is Strange 2 and in their other works as well that are similar. But it feels like they've learned so much in between those games right now, and yeah,
also significantly higher budget.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I think if you look back to like Life is Strange 1, it was a weird time for the studio specifically. Obviously, they came off the back of making Remember Me, which wasn't super well received and kind of just existed and died on its arse. And then they made this smaller thing while messing about with other games as well, because they made Vampire after that, Vampire, however you want to pronounce it, after that. But Life is Strange was the thing that hit and was big, and they were like, oh, okay, so they sort of cottoned onto that, and then you had the one in between Life is Strange 1 and 2 called
the
Awesome
Adventures of Captain Spirit.
And then you had Life is Strange 2, then you had Tell Me Why,
Twin Mirror.
Twin Mirror, yeah, that was the other one that just sort of came and went.
Yeah.
And I think they've just it's just a lot further down the line. It's the same way for me when you look at Telltale, and Walking Dead was after 15,000 other games no one played, but they were getting there, bang, it hits, and then it'd be interesting to see where they go from it, because I don't know or vibe what's going to happen there. I guess you just make another.
No, I guess they continue on, don't they? But it's although surprisingly, it looks like this isn't with Don't Nod.
Yes, no, Don't Nod have moved on to other things.
Yes, this is a company called Deck 9.
Deck 9, that's it. The people who made Life is Strange 2, I think.
No, they made the DLC. They made Before the Storm.
Before the Storm, that's what they made. Thank you.
And they made the remastered collection. Before that, it looks like they made Ratchet Deadlocked.
They've been around for a while, but they've just not been.
Cool Borders 3 was their first game.
Yeah, they've been around for ages, but they just don't. Again, it's one of those studios that just sort of.
That's very interesting. But I guess because they've made Before the Storm, they made Before the Storm. I didn't play Before the Storm. I don't know how much better or worse that was than Life is Strange 1. But yeah, it's super interesting. And honestly, I really vibe with the main character a lot, Alex Chen. She's really cool. Like there are times where I've caught myself talking to myself and saying something out loud, like in response to. I'm in a streamer mentality, so I'm like commenting things that I do often. So I'll say things in response to certain characters, and then Alex will say the exact thing that I was just saying, like without me having any sort of input. So I think that's really cool. I mean that probably adds a personal like connection maybe to the main character of this one. Whereas I felt like I would never be able to answer anything that Max was saying in the original Life is Strange. Like I wouldn't speak like that at all. I wouldn't say stuff like hella sketch, bro. Jing jing. Whatever it is that they say. The Frenchman writing teenage girls. Yeah, it's weird. But I really, really am enjoying it. I also think the powers are way cooler as well. So in the first game, the powers are she can reverse time. I think Max
she can control time, yeah.
Yeah, she's it's sort of like more just that she reverses it. I don't know, it's weird. She can control time. And while that's kind of cool and opens I guess it's probably more ambitious than most things as well. Like the whole time travel on your first time out is a bit crazy. Life is Strange True Colors, the power that Alex has isn't anything like on that level. It's more that she can feel emotions. So she's like a super empath, basically. So she can feel emotions, sense people's emotions, what they're feeling, and then I guess get into how they're feeling a certain way, which I think adds a certain impact to other scenes as well, because you're hearing and seeing things. It starts to affect the scenery around them. You're like seeing and hearing things that are going on, and yeah, there've been some really. I think again, I've probably spoken about this too much, but I think the performances are a part of why the emotional angle works so well. I don't know if you ever played the first Life is Strange, but the performances in this feel so much more real and grounded and
potentially, yeah. I mean,
maybe?
I feel again. I think it's difficult to judge with the first one because
of the script and
and it's not even
budget
like the script is bad. It's just slightly awkward.
it is.
You know what I mean? And I think even if you look at it, like say budget feels like a weird thing to bring up, right? But when you look at the difference between the two games visually, it's very, very clear which one had a bigger budget, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
And which one was made like years down the line. I think the script is definitely a lot better. I think the powers thing's an interesting thing to bring up. I think it makes sense. I don't know if time travel was more ambitious than this. I think this is almost more ambitious because it's not I guess
it's not fantastical, and I guess it's not
well, it's not trodden. It's not a path that's been trodden.
Yeah, sure,
right?
I guess so,
Like,
yeah.
don't get me wrong. There's obviously superheroes and like you watch like Heroes and shows like that. There's like tons of shows that exist with like loads of different powers. But time travel is such an not easy, but time travel is such
it's a hard thing to do, but it's well trodden, like you're saying.
It's something that exists. You know what I mean? And it's as opposed to this, which is something that's kind of new. Not new. It's not like again. It probably exists, but
it
you know what I'm
probably
trying to
does.
say.
But I feel like it's slightly more original.
It's not
slightly more
obvious.
interesting.
It's not obvious.
Yes.
If you were to say I'm writing a story that has superpowers in it, probably time travel is one of the first ones you would think of. You know,
but it eventually gets there, right? Like even in like the big Marvel stuff like that, they've gotten to the point where they're like, oh hey, let's just put time travel in it, right? You know, like
you have time travel, you have flying, you have super strength, you have invisibility.
Well, that's
they're like
year
4
stuff, yeah. Whereas like empath, not massively on the same level, is it? I guess
it's not the first thing you'd think of.
No. Which I appreciate the sort of. It's definitely, I think, the best game in this. Well, out of the two that I've played, it's definitely the better game. And I like the original a lot, so I think that goes to show. It goes to show, and I'd be really interested in playing Life is Strange 2 and seeing where that fits in things. And it's on Game Pass now as well, so you can go play it on Game Pass. There we go.
As far from what I've seen, and again, this is very limited because I only played like a couple of hours of True Colors. I've not really gone in, but like I was way more intrigued by Life is Strange 1, but I think that was more because it was the first of its kind. It was like them trying something. It was someone doing the Telltale formula. It was something that was brand new. Whereas this is like, oh yeah, I've played Life is Strange. I'd love to play a new thing in that vein and that vibe, you know. So it's a bit different in that sense, but that's not saying anything bad about it. I'm gonna go back and play more of it at some point when I get the time.
You should do. I think you should, especially if you've not finished chapter 1, because I finished the first chapter, and then after that I was immediately. I think finishing chapter 1 for me is the point where I was like, oh shit, I'm hooked on this now. I really want to see what happens.
I think I'm relatively near the end. A big event has just happened, which feels like it's getting near to the end, if not relatively close. So yeah.
And then like the whole game from that, I feel is well, the next 2 chapters are slower, but I think that works. Yeah, no, I definitely recommend it, especially if you enjoy Life is Strange and you've not played True Colors. Because like I said, I saw it when I remember it being announced and me being like, oh, this looks cool, but never being able to play it in any way. And it being on Game Pass is huge for me being able to just play a new game. I think
it's also notably the first one that isn't episodic.
That is true, although it's still in a chapter structure, so you can still play it that way.
It came out all in one go. So that's another wrinkle of stuff they're trying to figure out, I guess.
True. Oh, I will say I have been playing it sort of episodically anyway, because they still have like the chapters, and you can still finish a chapter and then go back to the main menu. And what I've been doing
Sure.
is
I
playing a
think every
chapter and
game is
then
kind of like that to some
leaving.
extent. Yeah, it's just they have a chat. It says chapters, but it's not like it just didn't. It just all came out at once, which I think helped it. To be honest with you.
Yeah, probably as well. So it wasn't. But I think that episodic formula has fallen out of fashion a bit. I think as well. I think people dislike that now. I think even back then, back when it was like the cool thing, because I guess Telltale were doing it with everything. I think even back then, people were a bit like, this isn't okay, or I don't enjoy waiting for the next thing to come down, or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely good that it's all sort of in one, I think.
Well, they're the only Life is Strange, really. The only example I can think of off the top of my head of a series that has reliably done the episodic thing well. Everyone else seems to be impossible to nail it. They seem to be the only people who've actually managed to have it come out in. Apart from maybe Hitman 2016, you can make the argument for that.
Sure.
Apart from that, I think it's the only thing that's really managed to
I think the
put
Telltale
together
games did it well as well,
release. I'm not saying they didn't do the episodic structure well, but the releases were all over the shop.
Maybe
Like they were really inconsistent about it.
Yeah.
Like not the most inconsistent. We all know what the most inconsistent episodic structure for a video game is ever, and we all know it's Half-Life, right? But when you're looking at specifically like everything post that, like Telltale did it relatively well, but there was still seriously long gaps between them, and like it felt like inconsistent gaps between them.
Sure. With some of them,
whereas Life is Strange and, like I say, I think you can make an argument for Hitman 2016, which kind of adopted that formula to some extent, which was an interesting argument. This was interesting to compare it because they're both Square Enix.
They are, yeah.
Are the only ones that have really ever done it.
I would be interested if knowing if having a proper publisher is what helps that. So like I said, they're both published by Square Enix, whereas the Telltale stuff was mostly self-published, I believe, apart from I think the Walking Dead stuff was with Skybound, which now owns The Walking Dead, or I think owned The Walking Dead property, along with the
always
creator.
It always has.
With the creator of that franchise, whereas the other games in that series
he created Skybound as well.
Yeah.
Kurtman created Skybound as well. So
yes, yeah. But the other games not necessarily, like the what was it, the flipping Borderlands one that I also played. That was really good. Yeah, Tales from the Borderlands. That was really good. Yeah. I don't know whether that was again published by. I think that must have been published by Gearbox, right, or whoever owned Gearbox at the time, or if they did, or
I think it's 2K. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess the Batman stuff, God knows. I didn't play the Batman stuff when it came out. I played the first series of the Batman one. I like that formula of game, but yeah, you're probably right that I feel like maybe Telltale. I mean, we all know the issues with Telltale now. You know, it's easy to be like, back in, you know, it's easy to be in hindsight. Oh, obviously that's what's happening. But Telltale was struggling as a studio. We're consistently losing money on all of these properties to, you know, in order to actually make video games on them, like the Game of Thrones property and Walking, like they bought Game of Thrones and Walking Dead as properties to like make these games with out of pocket as a company, and that's absurd, right? It's not really good business practices.
They just, yeah. I mean, I for some reason I rewatched both the People Make Games and No Clips documentaries on the end of Telltale, and the video, Super Bonnie Hops video on it as well. And it's just a mess.
It is pure madness, isn't it?
It's just a big old mess.
I will say this is one of the things that I was saying a while ago. If you do want to support the remnants of Telltale Studios and you do enjoy those games, they have the rights to the Sam and Max games, and they are remaking those. The first two games are currently out.
Series 2 is coming out as well.
Series 2 is out already. Well, that was the one we got. We got Series 2.
No,
Season 1.
I mean of The Wolf Among Us is coming out.
Oh, The Wolf. That's old. That's not old Telltale. That's
isn't new Telltale most of people from old Telltale anyway?
Don't believe so. I don't believe so. The people who've got the Sam and Max stuff, Skunk Ape Games, they're a lot of old Telltale. Like, I think all of them are old Telltale. Whereas I don't think anyone on the Wolf Among Us game actually is from Telltale, although I'm sure there are stories out
We'd
there.
probably have to look into that because I feel like that's maybe incorrect, but it doesn't really make a difference. The point is also the Wolf Among Us 2 trailer looked great. I haven't played Wolf Among Us 1, but looked great.
But my point is, if you want to support them, Skunk Ape Games making great stuff out there. Doing the remix of the Sam and Max games, which are good games. Thank you. This is a story, Charlie, about how I completed the most difficult platforming challenge in Hollow Knight.
Okay, I'll accept that. Carry on.
Fuck me. So, the name of the challenge is called The Path of Pain.
Did you ever finish?
Well, that already sounds interesting.
Yeah, go on, Charlie. What were you gonna say? Did you ever finish?
Did you ever finish Rayman Origins?
No.
Okay, carry on.
Does Rayman Origins have a Path of Pain?
It's not called Path of Pain, but there's a very difficult level at the end, and I wanted to compare it. But that's fine, carry
on. So there's the Path of Pain. I didn't realize that what I had started along was the Path of Pain. Towards the end of Hollow Knight, there's an optional platforming section called the White Palace, which is difficult in its own right, but not super difficult. And an offshoot of the White Palace's thing is the Path of Pain, which is almost all one shot. Like, if you fuck up one point, you have to go back to the beginning. Basically. Like, there are a couple of small checkpoints throughout the Path of Pain. It took me 5 hours on stream. I was doing it on stream. Didn't realize I was doing it on stream. I stumbled upon it. I had a 5-hour stream. I think it took me about 4.5 hours actually to do it, which I think is probably shockingly quite short for that. I saw some other people say that they'd taken like a long time to get it done. Like long sessions gaming that I wouldn't want to do. Sort of thing.
Speedrun Hollow Knight, Path of Pain %.
I don't even know if people have done that. I'm sure they have, but that sounds very difficult. Although I guess once you've got it down, it's not that bad, but it's because obviously you know exactly what to do and where to go. It's a platformer, isn't it? It's not necessarily.
It's platforming, isn't it? It's literally a get good moment.
Well, yeah, it is a get good moment. It is a get good moment, but it was very difficult. There's lots of, it's like wall jumping and pogoing off saws that are moving and stuff like that. I didn't find it too difficult. There's a bunch of clips on my channel. I'm working on it, making it a full video for YouTube to see if I can, have me versus the Path of Pain as a full video. But most of the segments I kind of got through pretty easily, but the last segment was insanely difficult. Where there are moments where I just thought, oh, I'm gonna give up because, to be fair, if I hadn't have gotten that far and I hadn't have spent 4 hours trying to get that far, and I hadn't got a chat full of my chat was quite busy at the time as well, which was really good. If I hadn't had a chat full of people like you can do it, I probably would have given up. But I persevered. And I did manage. And honestly, I had to take like a minute break because after you finish the platforming segment, there is also a little boss fight for you to potentially die on. And start again with, which is horribly. I think.
Did you die at the boss fight?
No, but I was very worried that I was going to at one point, because I wasn't prepared for a boss fight. I was not prepared for a boss fight at all. I had set up my gear specifically for platforming, not for boss fights, and so I landed. To be fair, it wasn't a particularly difficult boss fight, but it was a boss fight that threw me off slightly, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's not good." This is completely optional, by the way. There's no reason to do it. You don't get anything for doing it. There's no in-game reward. There's no out-of-game reward for doing the Path of Pain. There's literally only bragging rights. Like, you don't even get an achievement for it, which kind of makes me sad.
That's also super lame. oh my god, that's actually dog shit. That you don't get any like, you don't even get like an achievement. There's nothing.
Yeah, you don't even get an achievement.
There's literally no badge you can wear that says you. That's awful.
Yeah, there's no badge that says you've done this. There's nothing. I found it. I don't know whether I don't like that or not, but it does feel a little empty. Like you've done it and you're like, oh, I've done it, and now I get like a 5-second cutscene. Wonderful. And it was very difficult. Like I'm not trying to oversell how difficult it was, but it was really, really hard. What did someone say? I can't remember. They were saying that there's another platformer that someone was talking about. It was like, oh, Celeste. They were like, it's like Celeste's optional, very difficult chapters, basically. So yeah.
I can respect it.
Yeah.
I can respect it. Well, congratulations.
I did it. I was so proud. I was so happy. I was actually like, you don't have any idea how like me saying I was proud then is like ridiculous. Like I was genuinely proud of myself for overcoming the path of pain. Is all I can say. It's wow. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's very difficult. But hey, I Hollow Knight. It's been such a weird journey. I've thoroughly enjoyed my entire playthrough of Hollow Knight, and I don't think that I will be playing a Steel Soul run, which is essentially a permadeath run. But I might give it a go. You like permadeath, Charlie? Would you play a permadeath platformer?
No. That sounds stupid. That sounds like an insane thing. Insane people. No. Not about that life.
You're not about the permadeath platformer.
No, it just seems like a dumb. Why would I do that?
You have a health bar. Obviously, if you die by hitting like the scenery or falling off a cliff, you don't instantly lose the game. You have like a few more chances, but
no, you're good.
No, yeah. I don't know if I'll play that, but I do really want to play a randomizer. I've seen there are some randomizer mods online, which sounds super fun, and I think randomizer speedruns would be a cool, fun thing to do. Like getting yourself to the end of the game, or like the base end of the game, using what you can find, what you can pick up, and routing yourself in sort of weird RNG fashion sounds like super fun to me, actually. But hey, Hollow Knight, it's a good game. You should play it. You should play it, Charlie. You'd enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm planning to at some point.
Yeah.
I've had it. I've owned it for years. I've just never got around to it.
Really?
It's been sat downloaded on my PlayStation. Well, it's
sure.
on PS4 when I had it, so it's sat on my PS4 downloaded. I just never. I'm just an idiot.
Fair enough. Yeah, that was my video game. Outbreaks today. I played a lot of video games this week. It was my total output of video games this week. Hollow Knight, Life is Strange. I might have played something else that I can't remember. Because those two were so good. They were so good. You guys played any video games this week?
I played a grand total of
Destiny.
2 video games.
What?
You know what the other one is. You already know what the other one is.
Oh, have you been playing Skyrim?
Yeah, man.
Do you have another Skyrim book for us today?
Oof. Not the minute. I'm in a character creation menu.
Charlie, what have you played this week?
I have played a couple of games this week. So after speaking about Formula 1 last week, I've been playing Formula 1 2019.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the one that's on Game Pass and it's
Leaving
going
soon,
to.
Yeah.
So I've been playing that, which I just really like. It's got. I will say this. I find the difficulty so easy when you first start playing that game.
Really?
Like the AI drivers just are not. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. They are just monumentally slow. Like I can use the slowest, worst car in the game and be beating like Lewis Hamilton by like 30 seconds. It's kind of just insane how so I always have to turn the difficulty up. But I do enjoy it. One thing I will say, and this isn't a criticism of the game, this is a criticism of F1 car designers. because I like to use the in cockpit camera. I do that in all racing games.
So it's like you're playing sort of, I guess, first person driving the car, right?
Yeah, so you can see the steering wheel and everything else, right? Which is, and I play that in all racing games like that. Well, not kart races, but I play every other racing game like that.
If you had the option to play kart races like that, would you?
Well, I feel like drifting would be a huge issue. Imagine drifting in Mario Kart and you're just looking sideways. Would not be great. But the current crop of F1 cars, or at least in 2019, I don't know if the current F1 cars have this or not. But because the designs change over time. Like if you watch F1 or you pay any sort of attention to that, the designs of the cars do change. It's not like it's the exact same car every single year. The bodies like actually change and mold, right? And the ones in 2019 had a piece of metal directly in the middle of the driver's view.
Oh no.
So they have a ring around the top of where the driver sits, which is a safety feature for obvious reasons. If the car flips, then the ring makes contact with the road instead of the driver's head, which is a very good thing, right? But I will say, in a game when you're playing first person and there's just a giant rod in front of your face, it's so annoying. If anything, it's made me very respect. I'm like anyone who drove in these. I mean, Formula One's a different kettle of fish anyway. Like, fair play if you're a Formula One driver. Jesus Christ, like that's a scary thing. So you do you, but similarly, like, you're driving in front of this, but with your bar in front of your face, how are you seeing anything? It's so annoying. Like, you can see everything around what's directly in front of you. And don't get me wrong, the metal is very thin, but it's still exactly in front of you. And when you're driving 200 miles an hour, Jesus, no. But it's really good, and it gives me massive respect for, because there's two types of Formula One circuits in general in life. You get track circuits, which are exactly what you think about. There's a race course somewhere and they drive around it. And then you have city circuits, which are Baku in Azerbaijan's one, Monaco's one, where basically they close off part of a city and you just race around the streets. They're a street circuit. And street circuits, man, woof, woof. It's like, it's all right-hand turns and everything else. And you're going at like 200 miles an hour. And I'm glad it's made by Codemasters, the Formula One games. And since Race Driver Grid on PS3 and Xbox 360, they've had the rewind time feature that other games have now taken as well, where you press a single button and it pulls back. You press a button if something goes wrong, and then you can rewind time, like Life is Strange, for like 5 seconds and then try again that section. And man, am I glad that exists with the street circuits, because I cannot be doing this. It's just a nightmare. I'm going 200 miles an hour and then a flipping right turn happens. And I'm like, what? Excuse me?
Oh, no.
Excuse me? I can't be dealing with that. So, yeah, and it makes it really hot. And they're really thin as well. So overtaking is a nightmare. I don't know. I love it, though. I do love it. And I've been watching the Formula One documentary on Netflix, Drive to Survive, as well, while I've been doing it, which is really good.
Is it?
Yeah, it's actually really good. It's actually surprisingly good. Because I've heard a lot of good things about Drive to Survive, and it won awards and everything when it first came out. And there's 4 series of it now, and it tracks the sort of the stories of the season as they go. And it's actually surprisingly, like, there's so little racing. It's way more about the drama of what's going on between the teams and engine manufacturers and all that sort of nonsense, and as opposed to just like the on-circuit racing. You'll get like an intense sort of cut together, like, because Formula One races are like 2 hours, right? And one of the criticisms Formula One's had increasingly over the past 10 years is that it's nowhere near as exciting as it used to be. There's nowhere near as many overtakes. There's nowhere near as much crashing, because as cars have got better and safer, what's happened is money speaks way more louder than it used to. And so, for example, Lewis Hamilton's car is so much more ridiculously fast than half of the teams on the circuit. There's only really two other cars that can compete with Lewis Hamilton's car, for example. Not just because Lewis Hamilton's a great driver, but also because that car is so good and so expensive to make that overtaking doesn't really exist. And so watching a 2 hour long Formula One race, although I do genuinely like Formula One and I do like watching it, you have to pick and choose the stuff you're deeply interested in. Because if you're watching it for a thrilling and exciting racing experience without understanding, how pitting and different race strategies and tire strategies and all this other stuff affects it, then really it's going to be quite boring. And so when the documentary is kind of built with that in mind, it's kind of made almost for a casual audience where, you're not going to see many exciting overtakes. You're not going to see all that stuff. So actually the races almost take a back seat. You'll get 5 minutes per episode of the documentary where it will go through whatever race they're talking about in general. And it will be excitingly edited. You've got tense music. You've got vox pops in the background from the drivers talking about what was happening in the team, racing managers, the principals saying what's happening, all that sort of stuff. But the rest of it's just really good. Like, it's actually surprisingly good. And I mean, Formula One's a dramatic sport with a lot of dramatic, overly OTT people anyway, so it helps. The drivers, not so much, but some of them are. But a lot of them are quite professional, boring people, right? And that's not
sure.
Lewis Hamilton's not going to be too insane a human being. Do you know what I mean? He's very professional and goes about his business and does it right. But especially like the people who are in charge of it, the team principals and people like that, they're quite entertaining. And so seeing them just create drama amongst themselves is quite good. There's a storyline in the first series about how do I even begin to Red Bull, who are one of the teams in Formula One,
yes,
decided to change their people who make their engines, their engine manufacturer.
Okay.
They were with Renault, who were making their engines for 12 years,
really?
And they decided to change from that to Honda. Now, that sounds like the most boring piece of admin you've ever heard in your life. And they somehow hype it up to be the most dramatic, incredible thing you've ever seen. And somehow it works. That's how good that documentary is it works. It shouldn't. It really genuinely shouldn't, but it does. It's excellent. And there's a scene in the documentary where the head of Red Bull and the head of Renault are going into a big press conference thing that all of the people involved in F1 have to do every race anyway.
Yeah.
And there's just this one scene outside where all the heads are waiting to go into this press conference. You've got Red Bull, you've got Renault, you've got Honda, you've got McLaren, you've got Mercedes, you've got all these people. And everyone just sort of files away, and it's just the Red Bull and the Renault guy, and they're just like looking at each other, sort of smiling, knowing what's just happened, and this big, like, oh my god, they've left Renault, this is this huge deal. And it's just this awkward moment, and all the cameras just focus, just zoom in on their faces, and it's incredible. It's so good. It has no right to be as good as it is, Adam. It is. So I've been watching that at the same time, which helps. I'm just in a very Formula One mode at the moment. I've been listening to the Shift F1 podcast, Danny O'Dwyer and Drew Scanlon's F1 podcast, which is good. Yeah, and then the other thing, yes, very much. And the other thing I've been playing is Fallout 3.
Oh,
so for once, Louis isn't the only person who can speak about a Bethesda game. I've been playing Fallout 3.
How do you have the patience for Fallout 3? That's insane.
What?
It's a good game.
It's a great game.
Very good game. I haven't played it since 2010 or something. Like, I haven't played it in a long time. And I know when you were going back and playing it recently, Adam, I was really intrigued to, like, because I wanted to go back and play it. So I tried to. This was before it all went on Game Pass. I went back and tried to play it on my PC because it's the only way I have to play it at the moment. On, I think it was Christmas, maybe 2020, maybe 2021, one of the two. And it just doesn't. On Windows 10, it just doesn't work properly. You can get a workaround to make it work, but I just couldn't make that work either.
Really?
Because of Games Windows was
oh yeah, that was the point. That was the problem, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Games for Windows.
So when they uploaded it when they put it on Game Pass, they've got rid of that, and so I've actually been able to play it again. So I haven't played it in ages, and I was really intrigued whether or not I would still enjoy it. And I think you talking about it, Adam, and saying how much you enjoyed playing it gave me some hope that I wouldn't hate it.
Sure.
And yeah, no, I just really like it. It's aged horrendously, and
it's not aged well visually, at all.
But as a game, I really like it. I'm really enjoying it. Just wandering about and pottering about and doing stuff, and I don't know. It's good. It's just good, you know.
You're back on that Bethesda grind, Charlie.
Well, I'm on that Fallout 3 grind specifically. I don't know if I'm going to pay any. I want to play Fallout New Vegas at some point this year. It's probably the easiest way to word it because it won't be soon. Let's be real. It's a miracle I've played anything this week.
True.
But I do want to follow up and play Fallout New Vegas at some point because I never really got into that the first time around. But I'd love to go back and see how I felt about that because I know how people feel about that compared to Fallout 3, and so I'd be interested to see just what I thought.
True.
And then again, I do want to give Fallout 4 another chance at some stage during my life. It just never grabbed me, but I want to go back and give it a shot. But I doubt. I don't know. Judging how long it took me to get back to Fallout 3, it's probably not going to be for another 10 years. So look forward to that in 2032. Yeah.
So
I've actually played games this week. Imagine.
I know, right? How mad is that? How mad is that?
Imagine. Very rare for me.
What are you up to in Fallout 3 at the moment?
It's a good question. I am. I've just met up with Free Dog.
Ow!
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. And he is making me go and fix his radio tower before he tells me that my dad is in Rivet City. Because obviously I'm aware of what's going on in that game. So I'm like, so I came across, so originally you come out and you go to Megaton and you talk to Colin Moriarty at the bar. And he is basically blackmails you for money to tell you where your dad goes. And you can go and you can hack his terminal to find it, but you need his terminal's medium, so you need I think a computer or hacking skill, whatever the stat's called, science, I think, of 50 to hack his terminal or whatever. So I didn't have that because I've just started.
That high, 50.
And I'm like, I know he's in Rivet City. I also know I could just go and meet Free Dog and then he could tell me. But I'll play this through. We'll see what happens here. And so I didn't give him his money. I just kept thinking to myself, okay, is there a way around this? Will I get told some other way? Then Three Dog comes on the radio and says, oh, I met this cat called James who came out of a vault. And I'm like, oh, that's my dad, right? Okay. I could just, but it doesn't come up as a quest thing. It's just, I know, if I was playing this game brand new, I knew that existed now. So I'm like, okay, I'll go find it. But then there's no way of me finding GNR. Well, I could just wander the waste and see if I could eventually find it. But there's no it doesn't come up as a marker. And so then I just started doing every quest I could that I was coming across. So I did all of Moira's stuff and a bunch of other bits and pieces, hoping that at some stage somehow I would either come across GNR naturally or someone would tell me something else about GNR and I'd go find it. And yeah, no, it just never happened. And so eventually I just got so leveled up. I think I'm level 10 or something, to the point where I've got science 50. And so I just went and hacked a terminal. I was like, cheers, right, sweet, off. And so every time, but he doesn't know this, and the game doesn't tell him I know this. And so every time I walk past him, despite having met Free Dog and done a bunch of other things, and I've got Rivet City as a mark on the map and everything, he still goes, oh, it's just a couple of caps to know where your dad is. Every time I walk past him, that dialogue plays, and I'm like, idiot. You don't know that I've hacked into your thing and I know all of your secrets.
I hope that happens later on in the game, because that quest's never done, and so when stuff goes down, you just are a couple of caps to know where your dad is. I know where he is. He's dead.
Yeah. I think the version that's meant to be on Game Pass, I think, is meant to be the Game of the Year version, but I don't know if it is.
It does have all the DLC with it. I know.
I did the fun thing when I played it. So when you rescue your dad. So I did what people have famously done and followed him all the way back.
Yeah, I've done that as well. Yeah.
He does some mad shit.
I remember posting about this is a story about how I posted on Facebook about Liam Neeson's adventures in Fallout 3. But I remember following him and him fist fighting 3 death claws. Giant rad scorpions, just punching him in the face. I remember one point he was crossing, I can't remember where it is exactly, but loads of bandits there, and one of them had a rocket launcher, and they shot Liam Neeson with a rocket launcher from however far away it hit him, and it actually downed him. I didn't realize that Liam Neeson could get downed, he'd run out of health. This is after he fist fighted successfully 3 death claws. So he was down, And then it was me having to fend against the bandits, which was, there were a lot of them at the time, so it was quite difficult. And then he stood back up, took a sword out from the middle of nowhere, and just started going mad. And I was like, oh my god, Liam Neeson's just survived a rocket launcher, and now he's mad.
And now he's got a sword and he's ready to fight.
He's ready to fight. He then proceeded to kill all of the bandits with the sword. It's great. It was great. Yeah, always follow Liam Neeson. Fantastic.
It's a good game, though. I'm seeing stuff I've never seen before, and because obviously, again, I haven't played it in such a long time. And when I played it originally, I was a kid, so I'm not really. But I think I have a deeper appreciation for just certain things in games than I used to. For example, just look at ceilings sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like, someone sat there and designed that ceiling, and up until like a year ago, I don't think I'd ever like opted to look at a ceiling in a video game before. And I think it's just weirdly grounding me in a way that I don't know. It's just stuff like that I don't do. So I'm noticing a lot of things that a game does that I didn't notice before. Sure. That's really nice and enjoyable. I don't know. I really like it. I'm really enjoying it way more than I thought I would. And yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more. I'm probably going to play more later and slowly work my way through it. But I don't know how much I'm going to play. I don't know how long I'm going to play it.
True. I ended up playing through the main campaign entirely and doing a lot of stuff in the wasteland, but not everything. And then going on to some of the DLC, and I ended up like stopping around that area, like after doing some DLC.
That's what I was going to say. I can't find any of the DLC stuff.
I think
and the perks I can see are only up to level 20, so I don't know.
Really?
I don't. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I've downloaded the wrong version or something.
Maybe they're both on there. I'm pretty sure the Game of the Year edition is available on Game Pass.
I'm 100% certain it is, but I just somehow don't see any of it. But we'll see. We'll find out at some point, I guess.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
But Fallout 3, man, it's a good game.
It is.
I understand the criticisms people have of it, but I really like it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of. I think I've gone on the record before saying that I really struggled to get into Fallout 3 originally, and it took me a few goes. Just out of like, I felt it was very depressing. I felt that it was very quiet, and I really struggled the first time.
It's the post-apocalypse, Adam.
I mean, yeah, but that's why I struggled to get through it. Like, I came from Oblivion, where like you can walk around but you can walk around a town that's populated by people, all of whom speak in the same voice, and say incredibly stupid things. To
Bethesda, man.
Yeah, to Fallout 3, where I'm like, other than Megaton and River City, there are very few people in that entire game, and like not a lot of encounters, and just like a vast wasteland. And I found it very hard to get through the wasteland as it was. Without the radio, I would never have gotten through it the first time I got through it. The radio like absolutely made me feel a lot less lonely playing through it.
Weird how much I remember everything Free Dog says, like off by heart.
Yeah,
like
true.
What the hell's going on down there? Revolution? Vacation? Somebody fart? Like, I remember these lines and jokes he has like off by heart. They just come to me like as he's saying them, and it's like I haven't played it in so long, and yet I remember it completely. And I think that is partly why. Like, I've never had a problem with it being empty and sort of depressing or whatever. I quite enjoy that about it.
Yeah.
And I played at the the worst time possible originally.
I mean, I've grown to appreciate that as I've gotten older and more interested in other video games and stuff. But I found it so difficult to deal with the first time I tried to play it through.
The first time I played it when I was a teenager, that was when I had an operation on the top of my leg and couldn't walk. I was literally completely by myself all day, every day, until my mum got home from work, and I would sit there at home, lie on the sofa because I couldn't walk anywhere. So I would just lie on the sofa and play it all day, every day, constantly. And that was right after, to be depressing, that was right after my dad died as well. So it was like the worst possible time to play something that empty and depressing.
Yeah.
And that's why I was concerned going back to it, is it being like, it like, am I good? Is this just nostalgia talking?
I don't think it is with Fallout 3. I think Fallout 3 genuinely is very, very good. Like, I know a lot of people. It might just be. I think me and Charlie agree. I don't think Louis agrees with me on this, but it might just be me and Charlie's sort of, I guess, experiences with, I guess, life and also those kind of games. But I think Fallout 3 is the best one. You know, I think New Vegas, as much as people say, "Oh, this is so good, this is so great," I think it loses something in it being as silly as it is and as, I guess, less lonely, as populated, and as I guess goofy and silly is kind of the word for New Vegas, I think, because it can be very goofy and silly at times, and well, it can be funny, but
I think like I have to strongly disagree with you, because I think New Vegas is the darkest out of all of the Fallout games.
In what way?
And like, just like, I feel like it's the game that talks about, like, you know, the topic of like slavery, murder.
They're all in. They're in all racism. Of those, though.
Yeah, but like, I get this in Fallout 3, but like, it's the topic of slavery in New Vegas is just everywhere.
Maybe I always found it to be really goofy. Like, there's lots of silly moments. There's the whole.
You probably chose to have the silly gameplay add-on. The
Wild Wasteland
trait that you can pick. Yeah.
To be fair, I did have the Wild Wasteland trait on, but I don't remember what that did other than put Indiana Jones in a fridge.
It does a lot.
Sure. But I did play with that. But there's all sorts of silly, like the powder gangers stand out, like at the start of the game, where you like basically have dynamite raining from the sky and stupid stuff like that, and like there's the radio station with the super mutants that I found hilarious. I was like, I can't remember the name of it's like Big Sister Brenda or whatever. Like,
it was Tabitha.
Tabitha, yeah, that's the one. Tabitha. Best friend, is it Best Friend Tabitha? I don't know. Yeah, that's hilarious. And there's like the Nightkin thing, and I just remember there's so many goofy things, and obviously there are darker undertones. And I think Fallout fans, or fans of Fallout 2 specifically, will probably like castrate me a little bit for saying that I prefer it to be not as goofy, because as far as I'm aware, I've not played it, but as far as I'm aware, Fallout 2 was also kind of goofy in places as well. There's more of a focus on, I think,
Fallout 2 arguably has the best villain, the best villain throughout the entire series. I'm
not surprised. I don't think there's been a good villain in any of those games, to be fair. The ones that I've played, I don't think there's a good villain.
They're like in Fallout 3 convincing President Eden to blow himself up.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
But I don't know, maybe I just find it a little not like dealing with the matter and stuff, but I feel like more tonally silly throughout, as opposed to Fallout 3. I don't find is very tonally silly at all. I don't know. What are you reading for us today, Louis? Have you found a book?
Well, I was good. Yeah, that reminded me. I was going to get us a book. Just let me find the item ID for it so I can spawn it in.
There we go. Yeah, no, I do enjoy them. I want to ask Charlie, have you have you got any thoughts on Starfield?
Not really. I mean, I'm sort of intrigued as to what they do with it. If it is just, I mean, I don't know how it's going to work yet. We'll see.
Oh, no, yeah. I don't think anyone does right now, apart from, I guess, the studio themselves. But like it's going to be, we can only assume, I think, really, can't we?
Like, I don't, like, you can, yeah, but I mean, it's safe to say, like, the words that get said
game, right?
are Skyrim in space, right? Which is fine. I get that. I understand that. But what I mean is, like, what does that mean for interplanetary travel? What do you find in between that? Like, are there planets? Are you just on one planet? So, like, there's a lot of questions I have about it that I'm sort of like, I'm intrigued to see how it ends up. I'm not. It's not the most anticipated game in the world for me, but
of course.
We'll see. Like, it's in the same way that, you know, I think you could put it very safely in the same camp as Elden Ring, in that I'm intrigued to see how that formula plays out in the new type of game that they're trying to make. But I'm not like sitting here jonesing for it, even though I know it's probably going to be a straight shot between those two for Game of the Year.
So I have the book.
Mm.
It's a text adventure.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
I'm gonna have Adam pick the routes.
Why me? Why me? I was gonna say why not Charlie pick the routes.
Charlie, are you particularly interested?
Don't mind, man. It's up to you. Listen. Why don't we just come
Why
to
don't
a
we play? Yeah,
communal
why don't we play
decision?
together? Yeah, me and Charlie will play together, and we'll.
So it's called Kolb and the Dragon: An Adventure for Nord Boys.
Oh.
Page 1. Kolb was a brave Nord warrior. One day his chief asked Kolb to slay an evil dragon that threatened their village. Go through the mountain pass, Kolb, his chief said. You will find the dragon on the other side. Turn to page 2. Page 2. Kolb took his favourite axe and shield and walked to the pass, where he found a cold cave, a windy cave, and a narrow trail. Would you like to enter the cold cave, the windy cave, or walk up the trail?
Oh, what do you think, Charlie?
I'm quite warm, so my brain's saying cold
You're
cave.
warm, so
That could
cold
be just
cave.
my current state.
I'm thinking cold cave as well. Let's go to the cold cave.
You want to go to the cold cave, right? Let me turn to page 17.
Oh Jesus, that's a lot.
Type in page 17.
Yeah.
Kolb stepped into the frozen cave, but his Nord blood kept him warm.
Oh.
A smelly tunnel climbed ahead of him, and wind howled from another to his left. A ladder was nearby as well. Do you want to go into the smelly tunnel, the windy tunnel, or climb the ladder?
I think we should stay away from the smelly tunnel.
That's my gut reaction. Is
not the smelly tunnel. Do you want to go for the windy tunnel or climb the ladder?
My gut said ladder.
Yeah, I'm gonna say ladder as well. Go on,
Ladder,
ladder.
Can we what instead of can we now all sing Snakey
So page 12. Okay. Climbing up, Kolb found a camp. He met a wise man who shared bread and showed 2 paths to the dragon's lair. One went through the hills and the other through a marsh. Do you want to take the hills or take the marsh?
I'm leaning to hills, but what do you think?
Yes,
Charlie?
so was I.
Yeah, hills we go. Let's go through the hills.
Right, back to page
Nobody wants
3.
to talk through. Nobody wants to walk through marshes.
No one wants smart.
Kolb stepped onto a rocky hill. He could see the dragons sleeping below and a tavern off the road nearby. Do you want to climb down or visit the tavern?
I don't know. I would visit the tavern, get more information, maybe. What do you think, Charlie?
Yeah, I back that.
Yeah, tavern.
Okay, let's visit the tavern. Kolb stopped at the tavern to rest before fighting the dragon. High elves ran the tavern, however, so they poisoned his mead so they could steal his gold. The end.
Well,
did we have any gold?
So back to page 3, which is where that's before that.
Okay, sure.
So now our only other option is to climb down.
Sure, I guess we climb down then.
So that is
can't lie. When you said high elves originally, I thought he was greeting them, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Hi elves, how are you? No, they are elvens.
Kolb found the lair which the dragon slept. Tendrils of smoke wafting from its nostrils. The air made Kolb's eyes sting, and he nearly slipped on the bones of men picked clean. The beast lay on its side, the throat and belly both waiting targets. Do you want to strike the neck or strike the belly?
Oh, this is a good question. What are you thinking, Charlie?
I don't know if this is just because I've been watching Top Boy, but always go for the neck, blood.
Always go for the neck.
No message, straight in. That's what's count. You know what I mean?
I'm wondering if there's like armor around the neck.
Or is there more likely to be armor around the neck or armor around the body?
The belly, not the body. The belly. I don't know.
It's the same. Yeah, but your belly is on your body.
Belly is on your body.
If you were wearing armor, if Adam Hurd was going into battle, are you more likely to have armor around your belly or your neck?
You have
famously
both.
among the lore of dragons, the belly is the weakest part of the dragon.
So you'd armor it if there's armor involved.
No. I mean, like he's not wearing a
But it's a dragon. It's an animal, Charlie.
Yeah. He's not wearing a chainmail. But my thoughts there are that he's got like scales around his neck that protect him. There,
Louis, you of all people should know that dragons are intelligent. Have you not played Spyro? He talks. He gets interviewed by a TV crew.
Does Spyro ever wear chainmail?
Don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. Look, I'm saying I'm putting my neck out there.
We'll go neck then. If Charlie wants to always go for the neck, we go for the neck.
You go for the jugular, literally.
Go for the neck. Let's go for the neck. Page 6.
Got a good feeling about it.
Oh yeah.
The head of the axe lodged itself into the tough, scaly neck of the beast. It wailed and thrashed, but Kolb held on and eventually sawed through the neck, killing the beast.
Jesus.
Kolb returned home victorious, and his village was never bothered by the dragon again.
Bang.
The end.
I mean, we died originally, but that's fine. Yeah. There we go.
Now, for context, can we see what would happen if we went for the belly?
I've already read this book. You die.
There we go.
It's a fail. You do die if you pick the other option.
Well, this is
always go for the neck.
Well, this is a story about how I'm correct. Adam, in your face.
There you go. Fair enough.
Let's just read exactly. I think it's page 14. Oh no, it's not. Maybe it's page 16.
Oh no, there's so many pages in this book.
Oh no, it's page. I'm an idiot. It's page 11. Kolb crept towards the belly of the beast, but no sooner had he taken his eyes off the head of the beast than it snapped him up and ate him whole, axe and all.
That's Kolb's problem here, right? Is you never take your eyes off the head. Never take your eyes off the head.
Yeah, but how are you going to slash at the belly then if you're not taking your eyes off the head?
Belly's
I was
massive.
at least
You
near
can see the belly without looking at it.
I don't know about this. I don't know about this peripheral vision nonsense that you're espousing here.
Never take your eyes off the head. There we go. That was Kolb and the Dragon from Skyrim. Very nice. Very fun. There you go. Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. Did you enjoy that one?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. Up there.
Up there. Way up there. There we go. So that was our Skyrim talk for the day. Yeah, I think that's it as well. Have we had a?
We could talk about more Skyrim.
I think that's okay.
No, okay.
That's okay for today. I think we've had a really nice podcast today. I think this has been a good one.
I don't like Skyrim because Louis is a stupid idiot head.
I like Skyrim. It's on my desktop right now. I can play it anytime I want.
Fishing's good.
Fishing's alright. It's not that fun, but it's alright. I wish it was more fun than it was. But there we go. I think we've had a nice fun podcast for today. So thank you very much everyone who came by. Thank you everyone who was watching. And we'll see you next week. And we will be back tomorrow, 7:30 UK time, for some Minecraft. If you would like to watch us play some Minecraft, it'll be good fun. Until then, it's been nice having you, and we'll speak to you again soon. Goodbye.
Bye.